in the Torah, an entire generation has to die, and the people that end up entering into the promised land are the generation of true believers, which are like Joshua, son of Nun, and Caleb, because they had accompanied Moses all of their life and reached a state of enlightenment that they are deserving of that. When they enter into the divine just state, they will behave like Moses behaved, and thus behaving like God intended for it to be, and thus it will be a real divine just state, versus like people that are around the Imam. They identified him, they migrated to him, but their hearts are full of hypocrisy, their hearts are still seeking after dunya and other things. So those people, if they enter into the divine just state, what will happen? What will happen is that they will turn it into a hell. It will be an oppressive state once again, because their intentions are the same as those intentions of the tyrants and the disbelievers that are here today. So the establishment of the divine just state, and this is a whole nother conversation which we really need to have, inshallah. But the establishment of the divine just state, occurs by the caller calling, the Imam of the time appearing and declaring and raising the proofs and showing the letter of appointment, the will of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and raising the banner of allegiances to God and displaying his knowledge and speaking the words that nobody else on the face of the earth is speaking. And then you have gravitating towards him creatures. Just like the animals went forward to Noah and the true believers went forward to Noah when he was building the ark, the same happens. All kinds of creatures come towards the Imam of the time. And all kinds of human beings and believers also come towards the Imam of the time. But there has to be a sifting, because this time, in the divine just state, the people that still have these characteristics and qualities of the animals, they shouldn't go in there, right?
Yes.
At least in positions of power. So the Imam, in order that he establish a divine just state, there's this phase that precedes it where he's propagating his dawah, and also there are these people, these true believers that migrated and came around them, and they perfected their intellect. Hence the narrations that state that the Mahdi will wipe on the forehead, or the Qa'im will wipe on the forehead of his companions, and he will perfect their intellect. These individuals whom he perfects their intellect, and these 313 whom are needed before there's even a rise, these people are the future leaders, governors, the future rulers in the divine just state, judges in the divine just state. And they are carbon copies of the Imam in terms of their traits and qualities, and in terms of their intellect and their light, because they had pierced through and they had meshed with and dissolved into the veil of the Imam, and the Imam he himself has dissolved into the veil of Muhammad and the family of Muhammad, and Muhammad had dissolved himself into the veil of God. And so by proxy, these 313 had reached a level of being the length of 2 bows or less, right, from God through this process, and reached that state of enlightenment. And that is the purpose, really, of the journey of the soul, and the purpose of knowing the Imam of the time, and the purpose for being around the Imam of the time. And in every day and age that came before the Mahdi, that's what makes it so special, right? In the time of the Mahdi is that there are enough leaders, enough rulers, enough people that are willing to go to and race towards the Imam and learn from him. Not just learn from his words and his speech, but learn through his actions and through being around him, and learn through serving mankind and working and doing the things which are necessary in the divine community that is around the Imam. All of this is discipline. All of this is opening through the veils, just like when Muhammad was around God, from the other side of the veil, and he heard God saying, praising himself and glorifying himself. And so Muhammad did the same. They be around the Imam, they see him working and he's doing certain things to help mankind, and they do the same thing. Through what happened before is that there were certain individuals who did that, but there weren't enough of them to establish actually a divine just state. So in the time of Imam al-Baqir, you might have had Jabir and a few others. In the time of Imam al-Sadiq, you have al-Mufaddal ibn Umar and a few others. In the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you have Salman and you have Ali ibn Abi Talib and you have a few others, right? Abu Dar, Miqdad. But you don't have sufficient followers and supporters. In the time of Jesus, he has 12 disciples, but everybody else apostates, right? And disbelieves. And even one of his disciples betrays him and sells him out. In the time of Moses, definitely the people weren't qualified. But once there were enough that were qualified to go into the promised land, Joshua, son of Nun, led them in there. The same thing is true now. The Mahdi, he first appears and he calls towards himself. He gives his dawah. And when the number is completed, the 313 men, the 50 women, as a minimum, right? And then he has a base of support of at least 10,000 individuals. And these are all proper, true believers. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from his own self allows them to enter into the promised land and takes them on a journey to the throne, right? In a similar way that God took Joseph to the throne, right? Where it happened through unexpected ways, right? Ways and the plan of God that would not cross the mind of any individual. And no matter how learned they are, no matter how much they think they've read into the narrations of Muhammad and the family Muhammad, and no matter how much they think that they got it down and they know what the Mahdi is going to do in that time, what the Mahdi is going to do and how he rises to power is a great secret. It's a divine secret that God has kept, and nobody knows the hour, nobody knows the way except for God himself. Thank you so much for being here with me today, Ardian, and we'll leave the rest to a future episode, inshallah.
Thank you, Abbas.
God bless you.